Thank you so much, Caitlin. I also see that brave inner you over here, which is not afraid to kind of experiment to the extent that you were happy to go and see how your life would be in a different country
Mm.
altogether. So for people who are listening to us, if that is not kind of the wild journey that you would like to take, I would highly recommend at least changing the city within your country, because staying on your own, managing your own bills, building your own life, making your own mistakes, it really builds your character. And the other very important thing that Caitlin you just shared in your journey was saying yes to a lot of things, and especially how you emphasize on that certain period of your time, because I really understand the value of that.
Mm.
While you're growing up and you are still experimenting with who you are, and if something really you know you are passionate about, something is relevant to you, something that relates to you, and if you get an opportunity in that area, or probably something different as well, saying yes early on is a great thing, because that is the stepping stone of finding yourself sooner. So thank you so much, Caitlin. I think we have gone through this amazing journey of yours, from your childhood to winning such amazing awards in your primary school, to then coming to this transitioning phase, and then just hopping to a new country like America, and
Mm.
just being in the Charlie's Angels sounds really amazing to me.
Oh, that was a
Associated.
wild story. It was the ABC remake, and I remember sitting backstage, and I looked down, and there's Rachel Taylor. She's an Aussie. She was in it, and Minka Kelly, and they were just like having a little rest backstage, and I was like, oh my god, you two are so beautiful, and like I'm like, there's little me like ready to be an extra, but I've got the clip. It's fun. I mean, again. When else can you do those things? But really, also a good point of Shani. It's like you don't have to remove yourself entirely from your, wherever you live. You don't have to be that drastic and go and move overseas. There are little things that you can do in your environment, and whether that is joining a new club. And we'll talk about, some suggestions, that I can kind of make later to help with those moments of transition. But it's just, whether it's following that yes journey or, integrating something new into your environment, and pushing yourself. I think that's really important, and that will help you grow, and just going out and really seeking those opportunities.
Sounds incredible, and that's exactly where we're going to segue now, because I think let's talk about what's happening now with your amazing portfolio career that we touched upon very early on, about the Lady Brains, being the co-founder of Lady Brains, being the co-host of Lady Brains podcast, and also being a
Mm.
brand coaching and strategist. So please talk us through this professional journey of yours. How was the transition period for you over here?
Oh, yes. So, it's kind of a big. Well, look, what ended up happening is I came back from, my Miami gig, my sojourn over there, and I graduated. And then it's funny, I kind of feel like I went backwards a little. And if I'm going to be honest with you, I think there was a little bit of external pressure, which is totally normal to be like, you
Absolutely.
need to get a real job, a well-paid job, and just like sort your life. You can't just gallivant around the world forever. And I was like, I like this plan. Like, this is working out fine for me. But, my parents probably had different ideas. But look, totally normal. And I think I came back and I took a full-time job in marketing, but in an industry that perhaps wasn't so aligned with who I was as a person. And I was there for about 2.5 years. And, I kind of hit a ceiling. There wasn't really anywhere for me to grow in this company. And I just remember thinking, like, is this it? Like, what am I going to do next? Who am I going to turn to? And there wasn't really anyone in the organization that probably I could like identify with, that looked like me, that kind of perhaps had a career trajectory that I wanted. So it was really difficult to find those people,
Yeah.
those, to seek out and talk to and go, hey, like, do you have some advice? So what I started doing was researching and learning, and going back to my kind of I've got a really strong sense of curiosity and love of learning. And so I was reading books, I was watching webinars. I don't think I was listening to podcasts because they weren't quite around just yet. But I remember just sitting down and watching webinars like on everything, on like, well, what happened to kind of pique my interest was well-being, and female leadership and positive psychology, which looks at how humans flourish and thrive. And so I started kind of just, yeah, like doing a lot of this self-inquiry, asking the big questions of myself. I was like, all right, I've been here now for a couple of years. I've done some cool shit, but I don't really know where I'm going next. That's okay. But yeah, I'm going to have to figure this out pretty
Mm.
quickly. So I, at the time, called yeah, someone that I had seen on the webinar that was really, she's prolific in the female leadership, well-being, positive psychology space. I ended up calling her and saying, "Hey, like I need a lifeline. Like I don't can you coach me? Can you mentor me? Can you tell me what the hell I should do?" And God bless her, she was like, "Look, you can't afford me." But she was like a high-end exec coach. I was like, "Yeah, fair, fair, fair." She's like, "But I'm running this program. It's a female leadership program. I suggest that you come along. You'll get a lot of value out of it because you'll get me for 12 weeks of the program or whatever it was rather than one session."
Awesome.
And I was like, cool. And I was the youngest person in the room, which was a little bit daunting. But
Mm.
again, and I'll kind of touch back on this, but I put myself in an environment that I was like, okay, got to level up again. Got to grow. And also, these women might one day be people that I need to know. And so I went there, and the whole premise was to kind of set the next goal. What was my goal? What did I want to achieve? And really, it was about creating the next, funnily enough, transition from my current role into what I was doing next. Now, lo and behold, I thought that would look like going into another job, like another organization, and continuing down the path of, I don't know, marketing manager, brand manager, whatever it was, following more of a traditional pathway. But what ended up happening was the woman that I reached out to and who invited me along to the program, she ended up hiring me. Her and her business partner ended up hiring me. And so they kind of went from mentors to what I would call a sponsor. And again, I can talk about that later. But they saw something in me. And I was really curious and hungry to learn. And they came up with the idea of maybe you should work for yourself. Now, at 25 years old, it's not really something that I don't know. Back then, I wasn't thinking, yeah, cool, I know everything and I'm ready to go out on my own.
Yep.
I mean, I still don't feel like I'm ready. I've been working for myself for 10 years. Oh God, that gives away my age, but 10 years. And, I just like, it's a funny thing to have someone go, "Hey, what, well, do you want to do some work?" And I kind of started doing it on the side, a little bit of kind of consulting work on the side while I started my job. Transitioned out from there, started working for these women, started working for more people in the same industry, which was that well-being space, and started a consultancy. And I was like, holy shit, like I've got my own business here. And it kind of just happened. And so while it wasn't intentional, obviously you start doing something like that and you do niche down, it was very niche. It was marketing and branding support, especially like building global virtual online businesses for the leaders in
That's
this
huge.
in this space, in positive psychology, well-being, and leadership space. And so I was then intentionally building a business around that, and that went on for a couple of years, and I loved it. I learned a lot. There's nothing like learning how to build a business when you're kind of learning and doing at the same time. It was like learning on the